right, so welcome, gang. Welcome back. It's another exciting Sunday, another exciting brunch. Hope you guys have your drink. It's been great. So selling the spades. So T, yeah, if you can pop off with that question now.
And friends and family, I'd like to take this time to ask us all if we were in the middle of the woods and we were having a discussion about what faction to be in, what faction would we be? What would you be? I think I might be a Bobby. I might be a Bobby. I might.
That way.
Huh?
Why do you feel like you're in that way?
I feel like I would be a Bobby because one, I'm near the kid. Two, like Bobby was like team T. You know what I'm saying? She was team like unity and making sure like niggas is together. And Selah was about control. And I already know my personality. And with Selah's personality, I would have been slapped her. So I think, with the Bobbies would have been, because I wasn't gonna be with no two-time. I ain't understand him. And then the other dude who was like, the one who like popped in on them at the library, and then he like popped in. I was like, who is this nigga? Like, who is this guy? Nah, I think the Bobbies. They seem the most pure. She said, and then my favorite shit was she was like, first of all, the Bobbies, we keep the drama on the stage. I was like, real talk. What's up with that? Who else?
I don't know what faction I would be in. Like I'm not 100% sure. Because I was thinking about that, but I was just like, when you asked that question, I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't feel like I'd fit any of them, to be honest. Like, it just didn't seem like it'll be something that those type of cooks would be something that I would fall in. I'm not sure.
What was the question? I just came in.
No, which faction would you be?
I would definitely been a spade for sure.
Okay.
Hands down, I would have been a spade.
Okay. Why would you have been a spade?
Because I would have been down for the bullshit. Like if we in the camp, we in like a boarding school or whatever. Like I wouldn't have been with the artsy group. I wouldn't have been with the nerd. I would have been one of the goody goodies that kind of turned bad. It would have been one of those. But I know for a fact if I'm out there with like all these because it wasn't a lot of black people. I mean, they was mixed up, but you out there in the middle of nowhere with your people. I probably was gonna be on the shit. I'm pretty sure.
Having to plug to all the drugs, bro. Like they had all the drugs.
And everybody had to answer to her too. So at the end of the day, they did that. They all had to answer to her. So it was like
I key. And the crazy shit about it, like not even trying to be funny, some of them drugs, I was like, I want to try that. I don't know what the fuck a gumdrop is or a bubble, yeah. I don't know what the fuck they had some wild ass names. I'm like, I want to try that. I want to try that too. I want to try that. I don't want to try too much of that. Anybody else?
I think I would be a part of who was the group that like was in charge of keeping the faculty and staff together, or like snoozing the faculty and staff, keeping them straight. I think there was
like two-time in them or some shit like that. Like they were Vanessa and Falcon. Yeah. I like that.
Flash them a little smile, Yeah.
So overall, y'all, the story in itself. So just to give you all a little bit of background, the director, Tyree Chapeau, this was like her directorial debut. She was a Sundance alum, and she was able to take Selah the Spades and get it financially supported for production after she won through the Sundance Contest Festival or like contest or whatever. So when she won that writing contest and submitted her script, Amazon with her and a whole bunch of other production companies took over and they was able to support her and get her on Amazon Prime. So how did y'all feel about the overall story? I like the fact that we had a black girl lead, but she's toxic as fuck, y'all. Like she was toxic.
I mean, to be honest, like seeing how the story was written, it fit for her character for me. Just because of that little glimpse of how her mom's is, and it just made sense for her to go to a like a private school with and just like become like Queen Bee, like because it just felt like with her mom's, she was just controlling, like super controlling for her. So when she went to that private school, she had freedom. And then that freedom blossomed and turned into power. So she became power hungry. And then she just started to let that power and go to her head. So I like the only thing I didn't like was the way it ended. That was it. But I like the way they planned the story because, like I said, just from the glimpse of the parent, it just connected the pieces and made sense for me. I don't know why I have this towel in my hand.
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree, but I just think what was highlighted to me the most is cycles. Like she was just like her mother, and
Mm-hmm.
it was it was uncomfortable to see because like Selah didn't see herself until Maxie told her like you can't stand nobody being better than you. You can't stand nobody doing better than you. You prettier than you, smarter than you. And high key, that's kind of like what her mom projects into her, like forcing her to go to a school she don't want to go to. But it's interesting. I wish you would have done more deeper into maternal lineage and like generational curses because she's gonna have a hard time like going through relationships, whether it's work relationships, school relationships, mentorships, all of that shit. And not only that, he was so detached from emotion. Do we all remember the scene where the girl was like to the music, kind of like went into a trance and was like, yeah, so I'm like, damn bitch, you don't even want to, you can't even listen to music. Like this shit. Like
I felt like I was waiting for something more intense to happen. Like, and I think that was because of like the music or the score of it. Like, I enjoyed the story, but like I am like super on edge because like the music is so like high strung. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And it just seemed to me kind of like normal, high school stuff or whatever. And the setting kind of made it a little bit more intense too because it's a private school. And they're operating like on a higher level or whatever. So I enjoyed the story, but I think I was just expecting like so much more again because of like the music. You know what I mean? It was just very like I don't want to say dark, but definitely like suspenseful, and but yeah, like I think I had anxiety throughout the whole movie, and then when it ended, I'm like, dang, like that's it, all right. But I enjoyed it, and I also like the black lead. I like that a lot of movies are doing black leads. We've seen that more in like the past 3 to 5 years, like just black lead. I didn't like that they associated her with drugs. I didn't like that she was like the head of like the drug, cartel or whatever. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing like the young actors, old boy from Moonlight. Oh, sorry, we're going to talk about that in character. My bad. But yeah, the overall story I enjoyed. I enjoy like watching high school, seeing the movies, you know what I mean, and seeing them going through their things, and also seeing students like come together as a unit, you know what I mean, as a student council, you know what I mean, and like do some shit, you know what I'm saying, plan some meetings, you know, kind of work around the system to get what they want done.
It was like a academic mafia kind of sort of like. So, do you think like that was? How can I say? Because they're rich boarding school kids, how they taught to maneuver in life, or because they were bored because they're at boarding school. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they make their own drama or they own it's almost they operated it like jail. Like if we all watch Orange,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like they time wasting was like finding their own drama and their own issues. And they were like legit issues, but it was like, damn, y'all really selling drugs. Y'all really like
Right.
y'all really like
running it, like she was running it. Yeah, I like how she was running stuff, and they had like, you know, rules, and it was like a thing. You know what I mean? Like you can't fuck it up, or you gonna get dealt with. You know what I mean?
That's
So
like organized crime. You know what I'm saying? So
organized crime, right? Like
really,
yeah,
with
so.
the mafia, it's like, yeah, you know, you just do your shit on your side, do my shit on this side with
but
me.
at the same time, if we smell a fucking rat, like
Right.
it was heavy on the rat shit. They was like, nah. Yeah, but to see, I've never watched a movie where students were so like cohesive with, you know, from them to like have a ledger and like all this shit, and I'm like,
Right. These are applicable skills, my nigga. Like,
yeah,
you
like
can put your LinkedIn profile. Like, shit.
on me, and it was like, what where do drugs come from? Like, has anybody ever been to a boarding school? Or know anybody about a boarding school? Like, who went to a boarding school?
Well, she mentioned it. She mentioned where the drugs come from. Like I think that were they in like Philadelphia or something.
Some shit.
And yeah, she mentioned it. It was like a short conversation between her and the old girl, and she mentioned it. I can't remember, but she said something about where they get them from. But they travel. They had to travel to go get them or whatever.
I wasn't shocked by it. Like,
Yeah.
I knew this existed in private schools, even though I didn't go to one. But I just knew in private schools where there are a majority of, I would say probably, I wouldn't say a majority, but of a mixed culture school, I knew it existed. It was there.
Yeah, they showed it in Power too.
Yeah,
Tariq
I
was,
forgot Howard.
getting it in Power.
Yeah.
So like I went to an all girls private school, and it reminded me almost identically of my high school experience. It was really kind of surreal.
What faction would you have been in?
I don't know. So I think because there weren't that many of us there. Whether we got along or didn't, we were all together. And so even my college experience was very similar. It was very parallel because I went to a PWI, a small PWI, actually around the corner from my high school. So it was very much, even if we didn't like each other, we were together. So I probably would have been a part of the Spades. But as far as like where did they get the drugs from, they had the money too. That was kind of how my high school experience was. If you had the money, it was available. So.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. When I got to Howard and it was like rich black kids, that's when I realized that black kids who had money did real drugs. Like they knew that shit by name, my pills by name. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. You will blah blah grams, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, I just started smoking weed like last week.
I just wanted a bag, bro. Like I'm a small little dub. Like
and then they're in the middle of nowhere. Like those schools are isolated, so that's the only thing you're doing besides studying. And a lot of times they're doing drugs to study. Like that's like a parallel almost, or a cause and effect, I should say.
Yeah, like high school and college was all about like what drug will keep you up to get you through the exam, especially because I went to a small, very competitive high school where all of us were extremely driven and empowered to be the best, like still are. Like some of us even talk about it, like how we're almost like even emotionally scarred from it because we can't, like it was, and I was a 4th generation legacy at my high school. So it was like I was constantly compared to my mom and her sisters because all their teachers were still there and very much remembered them. And the president of my high school always called me her academic granddaughter, which was nice to an extent because she also did give me my first job. But it was also, I had to be on my shit all the time.
Why the pressure though? Like, why do you have? Is there like a prestigious type of like perspective, like view you have to? Is there like a grandeur expectation of you being in boarding school? Like, why do you have
It, it was always this, you had to be the best at whatever you were doing. Like, I just saw, for instance, one of my classmates that graduated with me from high school. She's the youngest person to graduate from medical school in her class. Great for her. But like, those were the kind of things, it's like, if you weren't doing stuff like that, it wasn't good enough. Average was never good enough.
Well, damn. Well, you are good enough, and sorry that your high school experience is just trash. Like, did
Well,
y'all
we
have
even,
fights? Did y'all
you said what?
have fights? Did y'all turn up?
Well, people got high all the time. Like, there was cocaine at prom. Like, people was,
I was going to
because
say they did drugs.
yeah, like, that was what they did to take the edge off, because there was so much pressure. Like, our grading scale was even different because the average grades at our school were failing grades, like the percentages wise. So you couldn't, C's were D's in my school. It was always a grade lower.
Rough.
Yeah, and I heard that private schools, you don't really fight, because if you get in a fight, they're just gonna expel you. It ain't like public school. It's like, all right, 5 days out, and then you be back. It's like, you got to keep this reputation. If you fighting, you out.
Mm-hmm.
And you're paying to go there though. Like, you're paying
Right.
so much money to go there. Like, so much money.
Yeah. Like, high school is as much as like college, honestly, the high school I went to. And it was a lot of pressure to just be a certain level of perfect, and especially being only one of the few people of color there.
Yeah.
You had to be, and then on top, for me at least, like 4 generations of my family had already been there.
Oh, so you like a legacy. That's extra pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. So let me ask y'all this. Do y'all feel like Selah was a good leader?
No. She was power hungry. Like I said,
Did
the
her
power
best.
went to
She
her
was
head.
effective, but good is relative. I don't
He was
know.
a realistic
No.
leader.
Well, see, the thing is,
It was
it's
effective, but it definitely was a toxic environment. It's a lot of successful companies with toxic environments.
yeah.
As long as they're gonna
But-
last.
But was she a good leader for her circumstances? I mean, she was basically a drug dealer. Like, was she
Yeah.
Yeah.
was she a good drug dealer? Or are we talking about like
Like drug dealer.
motivational leader?
When
I
I,
mean, it wasn't
when I asked that,
her.
She was a good drug dealer.
yeah, she was a good drug dealer, but I don't think she understood that in order to be a good drug dealer, you got to have a good back. You got to have good people on your back. And she did not know how to be a good team player, nor a good friend, nor a good faction, and all of
Bougie.
yeah.
But wasn't it old boy who like got who it was old boy, her friend, who got the ledger stolen? Like everything. I mean, she did do that thing sophomore year, but then this year, like the drama started because of old boy like lost the ledger or something like that. Like, she was trying to groom old girl to be like her replacement, I thought, and then stuff started getting messed up when the ledger got lost. Like, I felt like she was cool up until that point, and then her power, struggles start coming out. Is that true?
Well, they kept referencing the issue they had before with the girl that was supposed to be her replacement. So that was like the first thing they announced, like in the first scene. Because they're like, Tila, or whatever the girl name was, like, you're the reason she's gone. That's why we're in this mess in the first place. And that was like kind of the opening conversation. So the issue had been that she kind of had been that type of leader throughout.
Right.
And it was getting old, I think. And so, I mean, she was an effective leader, I think, she was a realistic leader, I'll say that. For her to be like, and like you said, in her circumstance, I think they played her character to be realistic. Like, she made decisions a girl who had a mother like that, who was in a high pressure situation like that would make. Like, I don't think you would play nice if you're her. Like, why? Like, who is your friend? Who do you trust? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you have to go hard. You have to be ruthless, and you want to be remembered. And that's all she was really aiming for.
And that shit is so sad because, like, when you would see her interacting with her mom, she would be fucking shook. She would be, like, trembling. Like, she cut her fingers. She would, like, stumbled over her words. She would, like, get dry throat just so she can express herself. but then be so ruthless to people who do like what she did to Maxie because he lost the ledger. And Paloma was like, "Oh my God, Maxie, what happened to you?" And she was just sitting there
What's up?
like you know the
Because
rules.
she felt powerless with her when it comes to her mother. Like she felt powerless. Like that's what I noticed in that scene when she came home and she was like hesitant to go inside. It was like going into a realm where she just was weak. And it's just like you can see it on her that well, maybe that was for me, that's how I looked at it. But you could just see it just like she just felt so powerful. But then when she goes back to school, she's just like on top of everything. And I think that was kind of reiterated every time that her and old girl the Bobbies had an argument. She was just like, you always think you're in control. You always think you're the head. And she was just like, if I'm not, who is? You know what I'm saying? So
High key. But you know what? Like, so okay, I got a quick. I'm finna segue. How did you all feel about Paloma?
That's a great
Paloma.
question.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's a great question because I never really could get a feel on her. I feel like with all the other characters, like I felt one way or another, but with her, because I felt like Selah did. I never feel like I could trust her until the very end, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like all right, she down. But like I don't know. It was all kind of like I don't know. I couldn't feel her out. Like she asked a lot of questions. She was a little bold. You know, I don't know.
I think that was something that intimidated Selah to me because she would challenge Selah without trying to. It would be a curiosity thing, but would also be like, explain that to me. Especially when she was like, having me to ask you about Tila, like what happened with her. And she kept saying shit like, you know, well, her wings, she flew to the sun and her wings wouldn't take. And then Paloma would be like, so
Who was the son?
yeah, like, so who's the son? Like, that was some shit that would have Selah looking kind of goofy because it's like, explain what you're saying, leader, boss lady. Explain why this girl didn't fit this position or why she wasn't good enough to where she had to
Calling her out.
yeah, calling her out. And Bobby always made it clear you lost Tila because you know, and
it's your fault.
Yeah, and I feel like no matter how good you are at something, there's always going to be somebody that's better than you, and it's like sad because she wasn't able to see that. But now that I look at it, when we look at her mom wasn't taught, like her mom didn't teach her how to look at other things from different perspectives. Her mom was like, "You're the smartest. This is what you do. This is what you need to do." And then it's just crazy because we go into these situations like going off to boarding school and being at high in academia, and you don't know how to treat people right. It's just very interesting. It's very interesting. Then you so power hungry to where you drug this damn girl that you trying to make your protege. Some scary things, man. It's some scary things. It got really dark to me. It got dark.
I like Pamela because she reminded me of a lot of freshmen
Paloma.
that would come into school and be like, you
They
know
call
what I'm saying,
her
trying to get in. What's her
Pamela.
name?
Paloma.
Paloma, my bad. I liked it because she reminded me of freshmen that would come in and be like trying to get in good with the upperclassmen and whatnot. But at the same time, like you could tell she wanted to fit in, but at the same time, she stood out just by being herself. And it almost brought like a refreshing type energy to the whole faction system.
Yeah.
I don't know what Tila's personality was like outside of what what's her name, Selah? Yeah, I wish so too. But it almost seemed like that she was seeing her as a perspective where she could take over the faction system of the Spades, but at the same time, like almost like she could see her taking it into a new direction because they first came across her through her pictures. And Maxie was like, I ain't never seen, like, you know what I'm saying, these pictures better than last year. And then Selah was like the year before that too. So it was almost like her eye already was catching them in a way like, this is somebody that could put us above everybody else as well. So we would be the head faction system, which is what it seemed like Selah wanted. So for me, I kind of liked her because it kind of like helped ground Selah to a degree.
That also kind of triggered her though. If you notice, right before she slapped the joints in her drink, that's what she was saying. She was like, I can see, the faction being so different and blah, blah, blah.
It's
And
like,
that like low-key
they're gonna be
triggered
so
her.
big. The factions are big, are great.
Right.
And that was it. Go ahead.
And I felt like that right there just reiterated what Maxie said. It's just like, you don't want anyone to do anything better than you, because and it's like when someone does something better than you or even looks like it, you act a certain way. And that was just like, for me, when I seen it, I was like, uh-oh, it's about to go down.
For real, because the whole movie, I was looking at it like, I forgot who said it, but you said it was kind of like on edge, like I was kind of waiting for something to happen. And then it wasn't really into the end to where it kind of, for me, it felt like it started picking up. And when I saw her do that, I was like, damn, no, she not about to, like, it was scandalous, because out of everybody, that was the one person that had her back, even, you know what I'm saying, with Maxie, even with Bobby and everybody else. Like, that was the one person that was riding to the end. And for you to, like, get so, like you say, power hungry, that's to the fact that, like, you trying to drug this person and damn near, like, do what you did to Tila, like, she got some deep trauma issues going on.
She got some demons in it, and then for her to have baby hairs the way she had them and looking all pretty, and you over here drugging niggas, like it's terrible. But also, she put a hit out on Maxie. Like, how you do that to your boy?
I'd have to have my cousin jump her.
Don't lie, Maxie was messing up though.
He messed up.
He was messing up. Ain't no mistakes in the game, bro.
Understandable. You have to, send a message. That's of course, in anything drug related, when someone messes up, you have to send a message. Understandable.
But you send a message. So like, okay, because I've never been in the gang, right? But I'm thinking, or a mafia or a mob or whatever. So you mean to tell me it even has to happen to your own if you fucking up?
Of course.
Yeah.
You have to send a message.
I mean, they should know better. They the ones that should know better. And if they, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so let me ask y'all niggas this. So if I fucked up with right to my biters, y'all sending out a hit on me?
We're not a
mafia.
We're not. I know we say gang, gang.
It's blood in, it's blood out. Blood in, blood out.
Because I'm slapping everybody mama. Like, what you mean?
Nobody.
We are writers.
Real.
We are creatives. We are not out on the block. We on the block, but we're not on the block. But
let me
like,
know.
But when it comes to that, it's like, I understood why she did it, because at the end of the day, like I said, you've been slacking, you've been messing up. Like, just in reference, let's just say this was on a bigger scale, and that was the police that found that. You looking at years in jail, so you have to send that message like, you messed up. These are the repercussions behind it. But granted, since we in high school, my cousins would have jumped her. I'm sorry. I would have to call my cousins up, and I was like, look, y'all gotta get her back, because at the end of the day,
hey, pull
like,
up to this little boarding school. Hey, pull up to the little boarding school. She the head cheerleader with the braids.
Like, look, I know where her room at. I know what time she gonna be there. The lights will be off. Yeah, I'll be in there. When she come in, just rush her. Just rush her. Just rush her. Like, get it out the way. And dip. Pull
the locks and the stocks.
That shit crazy.
Has anyone watched Queen of the South at all? Because it kind of reminded me of that to an extent. In Queen of the South, there's a conversation between an older female drug dealer and the up-and-coming female drug dealer. And they're kind of talking about, like, because the older one doesn't want to give up power. She's like, I've been doing this too long, I earned this spot. But she was telling her, like, you can't, she's like, you're too sensitive, you care too much in this game. And basically, like, there's no room. We, as women in this field, we have to be ruthless. We don't have a choice to have friends, have connections, have feelings. So when he messed up, he messed up. Like, there was no choice. Because just because they're in high school don't mean they're not going to do real jail time.
Oh, I'm not saying that, but at the same time, shorty, we in high school. I come back looking beat. Oh, no, you got to answer for that. Because even after that, they weren't even really on speaking terms after that anymore, because she kicked them out and everything. And I've been like, you know what?
But the thing about it is, he knew what he was walking into, so he knew he had fucked up. It was like, because she told old girl, whatever you do, never go to Fish Town by yourself. So he was like, when she said he's going by himself, he was like, well, can we reschedule? Can I take Paloma? Like, what can I do that I ain't got to go by myself? And when she was like, no, he realized what it was. So when he came back, he thought it was going to be all good. But when she kicked him out, there was hard feelings. Because really, that was his way of paying his debt. Like, but.
Still would have jumped.
Still
would have got a jump.
Like, you already know she's finna kick you out. You already know you're finna get jumped. Just don't go. Go get some food. Just
I mean, what about falling on the sword though?
Yeah, exactly. He was trying to get back
on the sword. Like doing, like taking, like she said, taking your beat down. You know what I'm saying, and understanding that what you did was wrong. You doing what you had to do. You know what I mean? You fucked up, so you taking your ass being like a man. I feel so.
I still would have jumped her.
Yeah, like I just feel like, you know, are you mad because I'm hanging with another faction? Are you mad at me because I'm not being loyal right now? Like, you really put a hit out on me, bro. Like,
he was mad because he was hanging with her fellow cheerleader. Once he started messing with her, that's when her attitude towards him started to change. Because he was spending too much time with her. He got distracted, but Homie got to have a life too.
He got distracted.
I was about to call him Chris for a minute.
right.
Ryan had a lot to say in the comments. Do you understand? I'm excited to have you here, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say about.
Oh, Benita done popped up.
Netta, hey Netta.
Hey y'all.
So Ryan, first question that we asked since you're coming in late, and Netta, this goes for you too if you watched it. What faction would you be in, Ryan?
Well, I'm gonna just say they did a terrible job at explaining the factions. I was looking at Harry Potter like, all right, we got Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, what have you, and like I couldn't even get a description of what the Bobbies was. I don't even know the other one's names. So it was just like, I think they didn't do a good enough job of letting me understand what the dynamic was. But I did like the indie art kind of one. What was the natives? They seemed to.
The natives.
What was the Bobbies?
It was the Bobbies. It was the Latinos, and it was 2 times in them.
The skins were the Latinos.
The skins. That's what it was.
Skins. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I agree with Ryan. I was just like, that's why I was like, I don't know which one I would fit because I was like, I don't really know that much about them. Like, for me to be like, oh yeah, I definitely would have joined that. I was just like, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that too. But if anything, I probably would have been a part of the C's because they had like the most information because they was like around the teachers and like, you know what I'm saying? If you need to cheat on a test or something like that, they got you before a price, you know what I'm saying? So I can see myself being a part of that.
You're right. I like that one.
So what do you think is the highest, which faction really operated it the most? Like, we know the Spades had the drugs, they always had the money flow coming in. We understood. So the guy with the dreads, what faction was he in again? What was he? The one who
he was part of the C.
The C. He was like a little phantom. He was like a straight phantom, bro. Like, it was so weird. It's so weird.
The Spades definitely probably felt like they had control, but whether they did in reality or not, that's how they operated as kind of that top dog. And I think they probably purposely picked that moniker with Spade being Trump. I mean, they were in charge of the good time. So,
man. So when we look at all the factions and then we look at Selah, do we really think that what do you think she saw in Paloma for her to be that grand person? Because whatever it was she saw, she ended up hating what she saw because she almost drugged this girl and took her out. Like, do you all think that? No, go ahead.
I think that maybe she thought that she could mold her into what she wanted to be first, and then when she saw basically she was developing her own self, like on how she could do it, taking her own ideas, about prom. Like, I think the prom in the woods was her idea, I think, but she was a part of that when she was saying, at first she was like, look at what I did. Oh no, I mean we. So I definitely think like she was like, okay, you know, I can take her. She'll be my little mini me. But as we saw, Paloma is an individual. She's very artsy. She wears her hair wild. You know what I mean? She's like definitely her own self. So I guess seeing that she wouldn't be able to do that, you know what I mean? And like you said, T, she's asking her all these questions. You know what I mean? And Stella's probably like, why you asking all these questions? You know what I mean? You want to know too much or whatever. So I think when she saw that she couldn't control her like she wanted to, that's probably maybe where the turn happened or whatever. So.
And it's crazy that she felt that way too, because it's like you about to graduate. You know, she was applying.
Yeah, and I was thinking the same thing. I'm like,
let it go. Get
But
off.
that's her relinquishing her power, though. I think that's what was another thing about it.
it's
Was she was
anyway.
about to graduate, and she was being sent to a school where she didn't want to go. So then she would have to start over again, being a freshman, and she would have no power anymore. She'd be powerless. And I think that was another component too that also made her do the things she did to Tila and Paloma, because she was just like, for one, it's like that power, and she was just like, I can't have y'all being better than me. I can't have
so
y'all.
she'd rather the seat be empty than anybody basically take her spot.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Hella narcissistic as fuck then, because how you mad about some shit that you ain't gonna really be around?
No control over, but maybe it's like what Kevin said. She might think that she gonna still have some influence from college.
Like
She also
she in
just has-
jail and she's still making moves.
She also has nothing else going for her though. Like outside of that, she has no control over her own life. This is literally the only thing she has going.
Yeah.
So once this is over, that's it.
She ain't want to date nobody. She ain't want to get with no niggas. No.
I think she liked her. Did anyone else feel that the whole movie? I was waiting on the kiss. Like it was just, there was so much tension in between them that like I thought it was developing.
She was definitely giving her sexual vibes, and it was confusing her also because she's like, nah, she's my protege. She's beneath me. Nah, you want that cat.
So like that's the thing though. I think she was attracted to her because she reminded her of herself so much, but it also turned her off at the same time. It was like, you know how the things you love about things you hate about other people is usually things that like same qualities you have or whatever, like being on time or whatever. I think it was one of those things. So she did start to feel herself toward the end, but also that's when she started to come into herself. And so that's when a girl was like, wait a minute, like, but that's how she is. She's over ambitious but she can get the job done. So yeah, I think it was a little bit of that as well.
How did y'all feel about her pressuring Paloma to beat up that boy or beat up the what's the name of it?
You gotta send a message.
Part of the game.
You gotta send a message. That's
Paloma
what it was.
Paloma, she changing that. She was,
It was very like, go ahead. Oh, I said it was very like Godfather-ish. Even like how they set up the scene, and she was like, you know, it has to be done. Like, and it was like, he will be handled. It was very like she wanted to exert her power and like kind of like indoctrinate her into the way that the Spades were, which is very interesting.
I think she wanted to turn her.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I think she wanted to like put something in her that clearly wasn't there. You know what I mean? She was very soft-spoken, very gentle, and I think she just wanted to see that she could have influence over her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And bring this evil out of her.
Yeah, that's definitely what I thought too. I felt she put her in that position solely because she knew she wanted her to take over for her. So she basically was just like, you gotta have the heart for this. You gotta have that side of you that's able to put fear in other people, to let people know that like, oh no, this is serious. We're not taking this lightly. Send a message. You know, that's basically all it is.
Just like her mama. If you think about it, her mama was doing shit like that. Sending her hoodies at a school she don't want to go to. Calling her home to ask. So you just gonna ignore that application? Damn, did you call me home for that? Like, fucking psycho. Like, I hate it here. Yes, I fucking pretended. Like, I hate it here. Like, it's ridiculous. Man. But the cinematography overall was amazing, simply because it seemed like Morgan, you brought up the scoring, and it seems like the scoring always followed Paloma, like from when she first came to the school, and then like when she had that first connection with Selah. It's very interesting how like no, go ahead.
It was only one rap song, but I just wanted to point that out. Only one rap song when Paloma did come in, and I thought that was very interesting too. Everything else is very just like deep and violent and just again suspenseful. But when she popped up, it's like, hey, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
and I'm coming to a new school.
right.
I
thought that was interesting.
And my camera, like, what's up? Yeah.
Oh, dear white people, Carrie said.
Dear white people?
She said it reminded her of Dear White People.
Oh, so let me ask you this: what's the difference between the college, Dear White People, the college aspect, and then selling the spades in school? Because with Dear White People, all of they shit that they're like standing for also coincides with like their personal preferences, like. The light-skinned girl, I forgot her name, but she was like super our people, but she was fucking this white dude. And then with Selah, she's so like gung-ho, I don't have time for relationships, but you want relationship. Like how did, like, it was, that's very, whoever Carrie, that was a good interpretation of like how, what that could possibly look like her for going, like as she transitioned into college. But like, it gets harder in college. And like they was all going through like some real shit, like abortion and trying to live up to daddy standards. And it's kind of weird because it's like, does this boarding school and private school, do they go off of expectation of like white America or white society, or do they go off of like whose standard is this? Why is it so rigorous to be great? I mean, why can't you just be great?
I feel like, yeah, it goes off those standards. Like, I feel like that's, even when you think about it, even when you go in depth, when you think about people, the debate between private school and public school, you know what I'm saying? When you hear that debate of what private school gives you and offers you a better education and things like that, which depending on the school district you're in, it's true, especially for us that are, have been in certain school districts and know the struggles that some of those school districts have if they don't have the proper people in top places. But I feel like, yeah, those standards are in there. They're placed in that institution because they're considered above and on a higher standard. And I think that goes along to what Nia was saying about that pressure that's also added on along to it as well, especially if you're like a fourth generation. So it's like even more pressure.
So bullying is more acceptable in private schools. Is that what we're saying?
I think it's different types of bullying.
Mm-hmm.
Because we bully in public school. It just look different.
We jump. Yeah.
No, exactly. I was trying to explain to somebody. They didn't get it. I was like, look, bruh. You, like, somebody might be the lamest person in the room, but they might have the Jones, bruh. And you had to be careful. Like, you just couldn't be blowing up anybody just because they look lame. Because you never knew. And you might get slapped too. You had to be ready. It was a bit bad.
Or get a school shooting. Like it's different these days. We used to just jump, fight again with our cousins, fight again one more time at a public space like the Palace or the skating rink or wherever we decide to be at, fairground. I don't know, but like I don't know, like beating a person to a pulp. Like I just.
It's funny though.
That's that gang culture.
It's funny though, because we was having this conversation the other day, me and my mom, about the difference of the benefits between public and private school. And it was interesting because, like you said, Kevin, we feel like in private school you get more, there's more opportunity, or better resources when it comes to education to set you up for that next step. But the one thing we said that could be the downfall is the social aspect, because it's so private and close knit. Sometimes it's less of diversity in ways, and like a lot of these people, even though they come from different cultures, a lot of their parents have similar expectations, so they're kind of breeding them to be along the same lines of the next person that's right next to them. Whereas public school kind of gives that leeway of like diversity, and like you're gonna get somebody from this neighborhood and that neighborhood and maybe this land, and you get at a different social aspects of things that I think better prepares you for life with like networking and meeting with different people. Whereas the private school aspect, kind of like on the academia type, you know what I'm saying, tip, it can push you forward in that aspect.
But what does it do for the community, especially the Black community? Is public school better? Is private school better?
I mean, to answer that, because I was thinking like, what would I want for my kids? And to be truthful, I believe I would want them to have that public school experience so they know how to talk to people. Because I've come across people who've been in private school all their lives, and because of their home life as well, and them being Black at that, they have a difficult time being social with their own, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote skin color. So it's like, for me, I feel like the best for my kids, I would have them in the best possible public school that was available, where you got the balance of academia and the social aspects, rather than just it being closed off and you got to fit this uniform, this, and you know what I'm saying, everything is the same mentality, basically.
Any other thoughts? Like, what do you all feel about your future children? I think everyone here does not have children, as I'm thinking and looking. Do you all feel that public or private school will be good, that will help mold your child to be an overall well-rounded person? Because to be honest with you, none of those kids was really well-rounded. Like, they wasn't. Like, they were, in so many ways, they were fucked up. Like, Paloma was probably the most closest to sanity, you know what I'm saying, or being sane, or being, you know, more well-rounded. But as you know, future parents one day, private or public, which one would you choose and why?
What about homeschool? What about homeschool?
Now, okay, so let's talk about homeschool too. This is my experience with going to college and people with homeschooling. They are very, very detached, like socially, like they don't understand the concept of group working. They don't understand the concept of, you know, having to sit next to someone and engage. They don't understand the concept of like, why do I need to be involved on campus? Like, they don't maximize on community. They don't maximize on socializing. They don't maximize on building relationships and rapport, because they just like got it in their head like, I've been learned this, or I've been done this, and I won't be here for long because I'm so advanced. Those people, like those people that came across with homeschooling, like they were just so detached. You know what I'm saying? Like I had this one girl I was with. I was like, hey, yeah, I'm really looking forward to working on this project with you. She was like, well, I mean, I plan on getting it done by Friday. And I'm like, we all get points together somehow. I'm like, where do you live at? She's like, oh, I live far out. Like, I don't really have like visitors. I'm like, you have a phone number? I mean, I have an email. I'm like, but do you know that we all got to get a grade? Like, so homeschooling is just like, I don't even know how to, especially when you've done it from like child, like elementary, all the way to like high school, and then you come to college. Like, who are you? Like, a student like you? I don't know. But public or private, everybody?
You know, I got a niece, and she's about to be 4, so we're like having this conversation now. And honestly, you're not winning this. You're not winning this situation. I'm gonna say that right now. But I would say charter schools is something that's kind of become like the nice medium choice or whatever. And private schools aren't bad, I think, at the lower level if they're Black. Like, cause I know, like, I've seen the beauty of a private school outside of academia is the community. Like, you know, from like kindergarten to 8th grade, these people go to school together, they have each other back, sometimes they go to church together. So you have that ability. So if it's a Black community like that, that's dope or whatever. I do believe if you get older there, it's best to probably try to integrate or whatever, because you know, you're getting closer to the real world, and so you want to prepare them or whatever. Because it's a safe space, and unfortunately the world ain't as safe. So and especially when they want to go off to college, you definitely want to get them skills beforehand.
I think it really depends on where you live and what that environment, the school environment is like. I mean, we look at St. Louis, and a lot of the public schools here, and so recently, even now, don't have their accreditation. And so that's like a lot of individuals that grew up in this area, you had to find a private school or a school that was not necessarily in your district. And that's why everyone always asks, like, oh, what high school did you go to? Because it says so much about you here. So like, I'm from outside of Cleveland, and everyone went to public school. It was very few that went to private because we had great public schools that were college prep. and what have you. I think it just depends on the area you live in and the resources and kind of the quality of the schools around. We certainly looked at private school kids a little differently, but I think in my environment, when we had a diverse group of as far as student body, there was a great emphasis on sports as well as academics, and I would definitely send my kids to that environment.
Yeah, my situation is definitely similar to Ryan's. I guess my answer is definitely situational, depending on where you live. Because similar to him, I live in an area where my town, it only had one high school, so it was just like, and it was a decent high school. You know what I'm saying? Decent facilities, and every other city it was the same way. It was like everybody just kind of either went to the one or two different high schools that was in your city or something. And then it was like the private high school. It's like, if you really want to. It wasn't like how when I go to like different bigger cities like St. Louis, DC, New York, just different areas. It's like understood, like, yeah, I'm sending my kid to a private school. It's like, oh, okay. You know, and not even thinking about like the public schools that's like in the area. So
You also got to think about like your kid themselves. So like, for instance, my brother's sitting right here, but he didn't go to private school. I went to private school since preschool, and I even went to a Catholic college. And so with us, it just was, for me, it worked out. For him, it was just better because he had more academic help from the state with IEPs and things like that. Because private schools, because they're a private institution, have the right to deny people with IEPs and things like that. So it depends on your child. It depends on your area. Like if you have a public school that offers the academic resources on top of everything else, or if you have a private school that offers academic resources and IEP help. Because like, for instance, in my high school, no one had an IEP. They weren't allowed.
I was just gonna ask, do like private schools have IEPs and other standard learning plans that would help students? And I'm like, but it's a private school, like
They have absolutely have the capacity to have it. They choose not to.
you can't tell me I can't go to this damn school just because I can't read a certain man.
Yeah, I
All day, gang.
And they'll bring in like specialists, but if they can't help you, it's like, we'll refer you to another nice neighborhood school.
Yeah. And thing is like that's if they're being nice, that they'll bring in a specialist. If they don't want, because like also they don't want their numbers to reflect certain things either, because donors won't donate, because it's the prestige of everyone here is above average. So I want to send my kid there. I want to donate my money there.
But everyone here is also coked out, so
that's the thing I like to talk about.
Right,
and I guess that's my frustration, because we're breeding robots.
Yeah.
And we're not giving them any type of real dose of reality. Her mom wasn't giving her a dose of reality. You were trying to, like her mother, like Stella's mother was trying to paint her life for her, because she said, this is what you do. This is what you should do. But what does that do for her as a woman when she get older? Like,
you see what it does to her. You see what it creates.
That's what I'm
I think
saying.
boarding school is even next level.
Is the greatest. So like, do you, like, that's what I'm saying, it's her mom was more harmful for her future than helpful. And then
Do you guys
go ahead, Morgan.
do you guys feel like sometimes, because I mean we've all been through that, like our parents making us do stuff that, oh, I don't want to do this, and they're like, well, you'll thank me for it later, like, do you think that is a decision as far as her education, her mom goes, and wanting her to be, maybe better than she thinks she is? Like, to expect perfection, yeah, that's crazy, but do you think that maybe if she didn't push her like she did, then maybe she would slack? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't want to go further into what may have happened with Selah, if this or that, because it's a movie, but when we talking about like decisions parents make for us and putting this pressure on us, like sometimes we don't know, maybe we don't know at the time how much is going to like help us in the future. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what college she was going to, But I mean, who knows? You know what I'm saying? It may get her put into the pipeline of like something good. Now, if she don't want to do that, and maybe she want to go paint, you know, her mama's like, "Now you're going to this college, forget your painting." That's a problem. But if she's like a smart girl, and you know, in this world, Black women, you know, we gotta be on it. You know what I mean? So I can see also her mom wanting that for her. Like, you're a Black woman, and you gotta be up here. Like, you're not gonna get treated like you're not who you are or what I've raised you to be. You know what I mean? So putting that pressure on her so she won't get, you know, treated, you know, when she gets out there in the world. You know, she knows.
I feel that. My issue with all of that, though, is the simple fact that you're pouring something into someone that you don't even have within your own ingredient, within your own self. I just feel like parents like that who say, I am putting my child in the best this, the best that, the best this, that, and this and that because they are the best. Yes, they can think that. But when you don't give them, there's an internal tool emotionally that you have to navigate through those type of waters. Because as much as your mother or parent pumps into you that you are this, you are this, you are this, are you equipping them in a healthy way for them to be prepared to see a motherfucker that's even faster than them, even smarter than them, even creative than them? Like, I'm telling you, like, okay, so for example, like my father, he's so trash. He would like come to my soccer games and would be like, "Oh, boo! Oh my God, you suck, number 26," and number 26 is me. Like, he just trolling me, and I'm like, "But what do you do, sir? Like, you know what I'm saying? And you, like, what have you done? What sport have you won? You know what I'm saying? What sport have you played?" And it kind of showed me, like, you know, that's kind of the same thing. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You have to go harder. You have to go harder. You have to go harder. Okay, so I'm going harder. What happens when I go so damn hard and I think I'm so good at it, and then one person just fucking sneezes and my whole life changes? Then what? You tell me.
Yeah.
Reality smacks you in.
Yeah, I
Reality
get that.
smacks
And
you.
yeah, I think parents are just trying, I mean, and we've heard the story before. I don't want you to make the same mistakes I made. You know what I mean? So that comes off as so intense. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really trying to steer you off this road, but like, you gonna steer me into it. You know what I mean? Like, so I get it. Like, some parents don't come with that softness that like, but if you don't make it, it's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, some parents don't come with that, you know. But I see in some way them trying to protect their child. That's, you know.
I get it, but they
Yeah.
in all, you can't. I mean, when you think about it, you can't protect your child from everything. And when
That's
you're
true.
trying to protect them from, what are you protecting them from if they just go to a regular school? What are you protecting them from when they are just, you know, making straight B's? You know, I was a BC, sometimes D student, and my mom was like, "Well, you still did okay." You know, and I feel like, you know, you more balanced in that way. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, what you're trying to protect them from, what, excellence or the standard of or being not, what's the word I'm looking for, being denied, like
I
what?
think that's what it is. I think that's the thing that they're trying to protect them from, or I don't even know if I say protect,
Yeah.
but you know that it's the thing because of, as us being people of color, of course we all know we have to apply a certain amount of percentage to what we do because we're always overlooked. And I think it goes back to what, you know, Morgan was saying with the, oh, I don't want you to make the same mistake I did. I want you to be better than me. But it also comes in the point where when is too much pressure too much? Because if you remember in the with the first phone call, she asked about her test and she was like, I got a 93. And she was like, what about the other 7 points? So it's like if you're putting so much pressure.
Fuck off my phone with
You're like, you put so much pressure on her to achieve this here, to make sure she stands out, to make sure she, you know, has that fighting chance. And it's just like, for me in my mind, I'm like, well, she's already at this private school, so her foot's in the door. She has a fighting chance, and it's just like you want to just solidify just to like 100% make sure Like no matter what
And
happens, she has this chance. And it's
that's
just
what
like that's too much. That's
But
too
that's
much.
the thing, though. Like the reality of the situation is, like, all parents, you pick up where your parents left off. So she's basically just giving her what she got. And if she's a successful person and she's like, okay, well, this is how I got here, that's what she's gonna give her. She's gonna give her the tools that she got. Like parents, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure many of us can identify parents do not have the tools to communicate effectively, like at all. Like they're terrible at it. Like I don't even know if y'all remember like doing homework with your mama and stuff back in the day. Like that shit was terrible. Like it was all horrible. So like the reality of the situation is she just using the skills that she has, and because they've gotten her to where she is, she don't see a problem with it. Like she's like, you're gonna be just as successful as I am. Like go.
How did you?
But is that her journey though? Is that her journey?
And then what fucks up a child is when you tell them that they are wrong, and then you put it in a fucking fable or a story and make them just feel like they. Okay, so the frog and the scorpion analogy.
I wanted to speak on that because it was almost as if like
take it away.
It was almost as if like she was giving an analogy of exactly what was happening, because as soon as the story ended, she cut herself. So she's talking about how this frog is like, the scorpion, like, can you take me over the river? And the frog is like, and I don't know, cuz you got that stinger on your back and y'all prone to use it.
You got that burning, cuz.
You got that burning. I ain't trying to get burned out here. And he like, man, I'm just trying to get across the river, you feel me? Halfway across, you sting him, and it's like, he like, oh, it's just in my nature. So it's almost as if, like, I feel like it is in parents' nature to, like, be caring and nurturing in that way. But to speak to Whitney's point, I feel like it's more so the approach. And I know it's not a book on how to parent, because, every child is different. We've definitely addressed that in past episodes. But it's more so, like, I think it needs to be a balance between instruction and choice. Because in order to be guided, we all need guidance in order to be the best version of ourselves in anything we do. But at the same time, we have to have some type of choice or mistake, because if we never choose for ourselves, how can we learn those lessons to the fullest degree if we're constantly being told, if you do this, this gonna happen. If you do this, this gonna happen. So do this so this can happen. And you're constantly, the world don't work like that where people are gonna tell you what you need to do. You have to figure it out for yourself. So I feel like in a way it's kind of setting them up to fail, because they're always looking for instruction instead of instructing themselves.
That's some powerful shit, my brother. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing that upsets me about just this expectation. Who are we trying to please? Even as parents, and I think that's a question, or like future parents, that's something we got to ask ourselves when we say, I want my child to have this. You set all these standards, but for who? For them to be better, or for them to think they're better, or for them to show accolades to prove that they're better? Like, what if your child has a learning disability? What if your child is autistic? What if your child has any type of disability? Then what? Like, how do we break that norm? Because I just did not like, I love the fact we had a Black lead, but I hate that the toxicity was highlighted, because this Black girl is awesome and smart and amazing, pretty, successful, athletic, all these things, super involved.
That made her so realistic, though. I love that, because in that environment, that's exactly how that Black girl would act. Like, she wouldn't act no other way. Like, that made her character so realistic, and I loved it. And I love the fact that you got that without it being her being overly like Blackenized in the text. It was like she could have been written as a white character, but still, with her being Black, you was able to see the culture and like the different things play out. So I don't know, I kind of liked it.
That's a good perspective to show. But but this is another thing. It also highlighted the Superwoman complex, which does not fucking exist. I hate that. So it's like, I don't know. I think my big takeaway, and this is a good transition because we are reviewing a movie and not a TV series, so this room will be kind of like lengthy but brief. I think my takeaway from it was I have to be very mindful about what it is I want to portray onto my children and what I want my children to how my children should navigate through the world, because we see a Black girl once again navigating not through her authentic self. Because she was authentic in her conditioned way, but she wasn't true to herself at all. Her mother wouldn't let her. Her power hungriness wouldn't let her. That's not freedom to me. And I just feel like before I even think about those type of moves that I want to make for my child's future, is this setting her up to be a well-rounded individual that is living in her purpose for herself. Because I feel like deep down, yes, Selah was a boss bitch in so many ways, but she didn't. I mean, a heavy is the head that wears the crown, and I just feel like it don't always have to be heavy. It don't always have to be heavy. It don't always have to be, elitist. It don't always have to be these things. But that's also coming from me. I just had a great morning walk. It's hella juju. I don't think she's really at her heart's core, but when I see characters like that, I be like, it's not Issa, it's not this, or it's not that, because it's like, man, that's the shit that we should be pulling away from. But I know that takes time.
But those characters exist, though. Like, there are literally sellers that are out there that are legitimate, real. Now, I don't know if they're
losing their damn mind and then ready to marry a white man.
Now, I don't know if they are heavily into drugs, selling drugs like she was, but they are out there. They those are, and I think this is dope that we're viewing different things and bouncing around, because it gives us different views on a lot of different characters and different people. So like you said, it's not Issa, but we know Issa's exist. We know Molly's exist. We know Sellers exist. Like, they all exist out there. There are multifaceted and different, there are different, shades and I wouldn't say shades. That's not what I want to say, but different, I can't get the word out, but, different women, with different lives and different journeys that they take to get to, where they are, and different experiences. Yeah. And it's just like, that's why I was like earlier, I was just like seeing how the story moved. I was like, it fits her. I understand why she is the way she is. I understand why she does the things she does. And even with, the drugging of the two girls, is like, I don't think it's right, but I understood why she did it. I understood her reasoning behind why she did it, and the issues that are making her and pushing her towards those decisions. What's making her do that? What's making her nervous and afraid at the same time, and feeling like, oh, I got to do something to, erase this fear that's slowly creeping up, because I don't want that to attack me. So, I mean, different journeys, I like being exposed to different journeys and different characters. I don't want all my characters to be the same when I'm watching things. For me, I don't think I've seen, like, we've seen many white characters in this type of setting, but I haven't seen a black character, not a young black woman character in this type of setting in any type of film or TV show. So I enjoyed that.
Kind of remind me of like a Black Pretty Little Liars. I don't know if y'all ever watched that show.
Yeah. And just really like gritty and gangster and mean, and just, geez Louise, like, I don't know. they were living off of a structure that. Do you think the structure that the factions were living off of can help them in adult life and reality? Because Jesse Williams talked about that. He was like, this little small world versus the world. Okay.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. What are we really doing? But those are my thoughts. Any other closing thoughts about what you all feel about the show?
I thought it was interesting because I recently watched Becoming on Netflix with Michelle Obama. And one interesting thing, that was good doc. But she brought up about the fact of, like, one of the students asked her, like, how do you not be just another stat? And that speaks to a lot of, like, checking off these boxes. Like, I got to do this. I got to go here. I got to acquire this in order to be this. And you're so busy trying to fit into this box, you don't realize that you're not even, like, it's not even you. You're in something that doesn't reflect who you truly are or who you truly were meant to be. So
yep.
So it's very, very interesting because one thing, another student asked, like, you know, how do you get back on track after being, you know what I'm saying, the first Black first lady, you know what I'm saying, in the White House? And it's like, that's huge. And she was like, there is no going back. There is no getting back on track. It's a new track. So therefore, it's a new chapter. So, like, to speak to what you guys said, I don't think the factions are like reality in the real world, yet I do feel like certain aspects can help them in business. I most definitely will say that. And with that being said, as far as speaking to Selah, I do agree, Kev. I haven't seen a Black character in this type of role before, and having that much power over like other factions, but also other people like that in that way, like that's not normal to see a young Black woman, as you said, be in that type of position. So it's interesting to see how she dealt with it, yet also where she came from, but also how she got lost along the journey too, to where it's like she almost lost herself. Well, not almost, she lost herself. Yeah, and she lost her humanity in it. And I almost think like the reason why she chose, I want to say Pamela, what's her name?
Paloma.
Paloma. I feel like the reason why she chose Paloma is because like she saw the human in her heart, and was like, damn, that's something that like I lost a long time ago, trying to strive for this power, and lost what matters the most along the way. So I definitely feel like it's a good lesson to learn, to be like, don't just be another stat to try and fit into a system that was never meant for you in the first place.
I don't know if y'all remember or caught it, but even Maxie said it when she was discussing her. She was like, she reminds me of you back before all this started. And I think that was one of those things that was like the payoff towards the end that the writer threw in there, but hope y'all caught. Yeah. She reminds me of you just back before all of this.
You were really different. You were nice. You were this. You were that. Yeah.
Ryan, you had something you want to say?
Well, as far as a wrap up of it, I think if anything, the takeaway I had was I'm not sending my kids to boarding school because who knows what will be going on there. Clearly, they was on some stuff. Right.
Coke and drugs, absolutely.
No parental supervision. But I think from a character standpoint, I wish we had more of that development to like understand these people's stories. Like we didn't really get that background, foreground in a lot of these characters as to why they act the way that they act. I think we mentioned an interesting point around how this was largely focused around a cast with people of color, and that we usually don't see that in that setting. And so I didn't think about that when I was watching it, but now you bring it up, like I don't know if I would have watched this if it wasn't a cast of people of color in this setting.
Yeah, I don't think I would have either. Yeah.
And I think Jesse Williams was probably intentionally cast in his role, in his little speeches, which made no sense, but were like somehow profound. Like, I think was supposed to like allow us to think about, you know, larger issues with how we fit into a society, because they had their own little microcosm. And so she came in young, naive, a transfer. We don't know like kind of what year she was, Paloma. But he was like, it's hard when you're new. And he's like, you have to try and fit in. And like, but do you want to fit in? You know, did she change for the better, or did she get molded to this tyrant? You know, like, and so understanding, do you lose your identity for the sake of making friends? I think there were a lot of themes that I kind of thought about afterwards, like kind of recounted in my head.
Am I the only one that thought that they kind of molded that character after the Jude Law Dumbledore from Fantastic Beasts? Am I the only one that thought that? Maybe that's just me. Because if like you put a side by side of the two from the outfits they wore and how they, it's like they were very similar. Maybe that's just me, and I was just like, I got those.
You talking about the headmaster?
You said what?
Yeah.
The headmaster?
Yeah. Like if you look at Jude Law's Dumbledore from the second Fantastic Beast, and then you grab a picture of him and you put them together, it's very similar. It's very similar from like the way the beard is cut and there. It's very similar. I was just like, okay, maybe that's just me. And you know, maybe she took some, you know, some hints from Harry Potter, because you know when you try to keep the emblem on the table from the different factions, it reminds me of Harry Potter. Maybe that was just me catching those things. I don't know.
Now that you say it, I see it, but I didn't catch that right away.
And the crest, I think they showed crest at the beginning too, at the beginning of the movie when they were talking about the factions. Then they all have crest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
She's probably a Harry Potter fan, which ain't nothing wrong with that, you know.
Okay, 'cause I'm sure listening like, okay, I think I stopped at Prisoner of Azkaban, but whatever, you know. I'm gonna go back.
Fantastic Beasts.
I'm gonna go back to mute.
I know he was saying something at one point in time. He forgot.
Yeah, I was about to say something, and I remember Ryan started talking. I was like, oh, and then I forgot. Yeah, it was something.
Any other closing thoughts? What was anyone else's takeaway that they enjoyed, didn't enjoy?
Didn't like the ending. Like the ending was just.
Do you all think do you all think there was like a epiphany to change? Like,
No,
you know.
So here's my thing, because T, you brought this up before. Go ahead. You go ahead. I'll let you forget.
My thing is with that is that I feel like with that ending, she's not gonna change. She got copped out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm alive again. Now I can do my fucked up shit another day. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I felt. Like it wasn't really like, oh, I'm about to learn from it. It kind of confirmed for me that like, oh shit, maybe our mother is right, and what she's seeing in herself is what she's seeing in her daughter. Probably did the same thing, you know.
But also, Selah received her first knuckle sandwich though. Like Paloma popped her ass one good time.
Yeah.
I thought
Over here tripping out outside in this crowded ass Coachella feeling ass vibe.
Right.
I will punch you like she. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but when you get punched, when you get punched in the face, life kind of just comes at you and be like, okay, how do I not get punched in the face?
And you know how Selah is too, so it's just like that probably wasn't a situation. She probably was like grateful in that moment, but let that movie go on maybe 10 more minutes. She'd have been like, I got to get back at this bitch. She punched me.
I gotta handle this. I gotta send you to this town.
But how you gonna get back at somebody when you almost did what you did to her, you did to the last girl, and motherfuckers already tired of your shit.
It's in her nature.
Mm-hmm. It's in her nature. That's the real.
I felt like she definitely. I felt like that was a changing point because I felt like when she was looking over the gate, she was contemplating suicide.
She was
Like,
about to off herself, bro.
she was about to like jump.
Get pushed in the face. I don't know if anybody.
So, I mean, yeah.
I'll wait till Morgan's finished. I'm gonna touch on that.
No, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I think y'all were saying, like, nah, she didn't change. Like, I really feel like she was, like, at that point when she was looking over the gate, she was like, I did all this. I don't deserve to live. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything they were saying about me is right, you know, and maybe if I take myself out of this misery, I don't have to deal with not only this, but my mom and the pressure she's putting on me. You know what I mean? Like, I think it just came full circle for her. So, yeah. Go ahead.
I thought that as well, that she was contemplating suicide. I don't know why I said suicide. But I don't think it was for that reason. I think it was fear again, because I think it was fear of Paloma. What happened to Paloma didn't happen the way she wanted it. So Paloma now can either snitch or she can walk away. She can get in trouble. She can get kicked out. Her mother will be mad at her. Her mother will be furious. Her future could possibly, you know, the college, all that stuff. I think just that fear of losing all that stuff and becoming shunned and looked down upon hit her at that moment, because I feel like all of that was rushing to her, and she was just like, I think that was a defense mechanism to try to get out of that. And I don't think she was contemplating suicide. I think she was contemplating hurting herself to get sympathy from it, so people wouldn't look at what she's just previously done.
I disagree, Kev. I personally feel when you get a fucking 4 knuckles to your damn you just reflect on shit immediately. And like to know that like everything could have came tumbling down along with that bloody ass lip she had, it just makes me think things. I really think she's about to off herself. Because when you think about it, a person, and I used to suffer with this, when I don't have no control of the physical world, which we really don't. It's all in our mind, right? But back before I became more enlightened or navigate through these life waters, I would go to an extreme dramatic space in my mind to like, I've lost control of myself, everything, this and that and the other, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. I have to clean a slate. I have to kill myself. I have to, like, that a person who only knows control, the one moment that they are set up to not be in control, they lose their shit, which goes back to my initial question. What are we teaching them? Like, if we know it's not going to work in the real life, if we know it's not even like, it's only for good business structure, not for like how to operate your life. Like, what are we doing? That girl definitely was about to off herself. Like, definitely. And she got punched. And the way she took it was like, nobody has ever punched me before. Nobody has ever stepped to me like that before. And she was so taken back along with the guilt because you did that to her. And this is your second time doing that. After Maxie telling you, you know, this is who you truly are and this is what everybody sees. Okay, now I gotta kill myself, like, cause everybody know that I ain't shit. Like, you know, like it's crazy. And again, it goes into the superwoman complex. It goes into you thinking that you are this expectation that you're reaching, and it's not even your true expectation. It's just so toxic. I don't know. I always be hoping for some type of healing, but it don't always manifest itself. So I personally believe that girl was about to just say, I'm good. I done got punched in the face. That's the cherry on top of my day. I'm Selah. I don't get punched in the face, okay? I'm Selah Summers, and I got punched today on my senior prom. That's a lot.
She said that's a lot. I didn't like how long, I don't know exactly what you didn't like about it, Kevin, but maybe how long they kept the camera on them while they were walking, like toward the end.
T mentioned this before, and she was like, I think when we were just talking about adding a movie to our list, and at that time, I think T said she only watched like the beginning of it, so she was like, it gives me some Spike Lee feels. That ending reminded me of a Spike Lee ending without a Spike Lee hook, because you know when Spike has his endings like those, it's a hook with it. It's a reason that he's ending it this way. And I think that's what the director was doing. She was trying to give you that type of Spike Lee hook with it. It had no hook though. It had nothing there. It was just an ending.
I'm sure like, what's about to happen? Is she about to punch her again? Or are they like,
yeah, friends, or they're banding together and no one's a leader? Everybody, the Spades are not selling the Spades. We're just the Spades. Are we going to sit down and talk about it?
Yeah.
Do we go to college? Does this change your life to where you tell your mama, I'm not doing that? You know what I'm saying? Like, or I'm not going to this school. Like, what happened? So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. And that's why we're talking about it now. You think that brings Spades too? Like, you know?
I don't know. I feel like
I
would have got the point. I would have got the ending without like it being so long. I would have got like, oh, okay, they cool, or that's what it is, whatever. But I'm still like, why is it still going? Like,
I think Stella should be yeah, it should be a series, like, because it's so many questions. And then we also want to see what happens with the Spades. And we also want to see what happens with Stella, what happens with, we're going to have to tweet Tyreesha Poe and tell her.
Gotta see what happens with Pamela.
You going to call her Pamela too?
Yeah, I play too much. Okay, so.
But I don't know, that was.
Yeah. No, I was just finna give a time call. It is now 2:36. I know we usually closely wrap up. Kev, you want to give announcements about what's happening as we transition into June, or E?
Oh, I mean, I didn't know he was doing that today.
Well, to keep people excited, or to, just let them know.
I'll let E do that.
Yeah.
Hey, bro.
But let me open it up for you. Let me
We celebrating you that month, brother.
So, guys, as you know, we are going into our 4th week. Well, we appreciate you all for coming in and, you know, supporting us and participating with us and actually watching the shit. We be like, bro, you think people watching this? I think people fucking with it. I don't know, you know, and then come to find out we're all like together on it. So that's really good that this safe space and this creative space is constantly cultivating into, you know, people love movie watching and writing shit. So that's really, really dope. So as we close out, we're gonna do one more movie review, and it's on Netflix. It's on All Day and the Night. From our favorite guy from from Moonlight. I can't think of his name, but he plays Chiron, like teenage Chiron. So we're gonna watch that, and then of course we're gonna close the month of May. I'm sorry, we're gonna enter the month of June, closing out Insecure. So we have 2 more episodes of Insecure, right, Kev?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then after we close out Insecure, because that will be considered our 5th or 6th week, I think that will be our 6th week. We want to give you all something special.
Wait, no. You went. We still got 1 day between that after Insecure.
Oh, I think it's just it's another review.
We got one. We got another one right after Insecure, and then he takes over.
All right. Well, so Father's Day, we're gonna be doing a pilot of my web series that I've been shooting for about a year now. It's called Toxic. Actually, we got 2 of the stars that's in it, Ryan and Tierra Parks. They star in the show. And
wait, Stanley in here, ain't he?
Stan is in here as well. Stan is in here. And then we got Kevin, my DP. So we're gonna be showing a pilot for that on Father's Day, and then, you know, taking any questions that you all have about production, producing a movie or a web series, and really kind of getting into what the writer's room is all about. So that's what we'll be starting that weekend, and as well as I think the next weekend, Kevin is going to talk more about what we're going to be doing in the Writers Not Biters writer's room as well.
So to kind of backtrack, when we talk about June, we have 2 reviews. On the 16th, we're going to be doing Black TV shows now and then, comparing, you know, the journey of, you know, Black TV shows from back in the day with the different worlds and, you know, the Martin's Fresh Prince to what we have now, and the difference, and how we went a period where we didn't have any, and we had lackluster. So that'll be on the 16th. And then on the 28th, we'll be doing Black films. So that'll be how we're going to end June. So June is going to be Insecure. 16th is going to be Black TV shows. Father's Day, the 21st is going to be sophomore of Toxic. And then the 28th is going to be Black films. So those 2, the ones where we're doing Black TV shows and Black films, we expect that one to be, you know, we expect that conversation to be good, because a lot of people have a lot of thoughts on those. I know just us from us 3, we have a lot of, you know, different conversation pieces and points on that one. But
And this is also something that I want to add. With us doing the Black TV shows and the Black now and then, we want to turn it into we call this, you know, these Zoom room brunches often, but now we're trying to figure out a fun way. You know, we all have played Black Card Revoked. We've all played, you know, charades and face up, and, you know, about like Black culture stuff. And I think it would be fun if we try to engage that into interactive activity, whether it's like taking shots, doing trivia, and that will engage into the conversation as well about Black television and, you know, now and then, simply because we all miss the nostalgia of Black television, from Living Single to Fresh Prince to Family Matters to Jamie Foxx to Wayne's Brothers. Like, we can go all day long, right? But how do we bring that back? You know, because now we have social media now. You know, back in the 90s, like, In Living Color didn't need social media. We just needed a attendant that stuck up and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And us being millennials and us trying to bring back that nostalgic feel through TV, because that was Black television. That was a Black show. Everybody's mama was a Claire Huxtable when she felt like it. You know, everybody's mama was also, you know, sister mama. Like, you know, like there's always a character and a story that we have to make sure we highlight. And what fun way for us to bring that back and have that nostalgia feel through trivia and stuff. So that's something that we want you all to look forward to. Again, that's why we're making it a brunch theme. We still not able to, you know, go out and be like, hey y'all, remember when? So we're trying to bring it here and, you know, spruce up our conversations and, you know, turn up and whatnot. And we hope to have you all there. You all have been sticking it out with us for so long, and we just want to continue keeping you all engaged and saying like thank you. And we have so much to share with y'all throughout this year and so on and so forth. Type shit.
Yeah. I'm just excited for July.
And I just posted it in the chat.
So can't relax, okay?
I'm ready. I'm ready for that. I'm ready.
In July, we'll announce more about it, but we are trying to promote a writing challenge for any and everybody who is, whether even if it's a song, you know, like we all need scoring for our web series. So I mean, by all means, like any type of writing in genre that would be beneficial for the room, beneficial for us as writers, and then of course creating our rooms for writing and stuff. So we are really excited to engage, tell a friend to tell a friend. And as always, you know, the best gift that we really look for is those who are really interested in Black film, Black television, and Black stories. That's what keeps it going. But all of that will be sent out in email, though.
Yeah, and I was actually about to piggyback off that. If you are just now joining us, please add your email to the chat so we can keep you up to date on everything that we're doing going forward.
Yeah. Any other closing thoughts, everyone?
I hear you.
What you say?
Thank you for providing, you know, this forum for us to get together and, you know, share thoughts and, you know, stuff. Yeah. Appreciate you all.
Yeah.
I have a question. When do you guys think that we'll be able to get together, like, in person? Like, what do you guys, I mean, because the states are opening back up, but I know we're all still being cautious. When do you think that, you know, you'll feel comfortable enough?
At this point, because we are still growing, because every week we watch our numbers and we go, especially depending on what we talk about, we go up, we go down, we go up, you know, and it fluctuates. But when it comes down to, we know what's going to really hit, like Insecure and, you know, big topics of like Black television and things we grew up on, it's about containing that space. What does that space look like? Is it at my house? Is it at E house? It's about space. Because we want as many people to come as possible, you know, because it's all we all need that social gathering. Like, yo, remember when, you know, like, name this episode, then you not a real nigga if you know, like we want that, you know, that gander, you know, that banter, excuse me, but it's all about that space. So if you know some spaces that you know will be like more secluded or, you know, discreet, a lot of people, there's not a lot of traffic, but we can like have a host something there. It's all about like finding that appropriate venue to hold however many people we need, including if it's like ourselves and 20, and what if we decide we want to shoot, and you know, filming equipment, and you know, it's all those things to put into perspective. But we're definitely always open for ideas, because it is the three of us trying to figure out how do we keep this going, especially when the world opens back up. This has been easy, but we actually want real life Zoom room brunches and Zoom room kickbacks. You know, we want to do watch parties, we want to have, you know, Sunday discussions, but how do we, you know, with this crisis shit?
And beef, is it Be Free St. Louis? Somebody is doing this, like this Zoom, but it's on Insecure. Like, did they like bite y'all, or was this going?
No, that's, I know you're talking about, no, that's Biko. He's been I'm sorry, James Biko, Needles, Afro Sexy Cool. He's been doing that since Insecure started. So he does it's a chat, and then he also does Chat Atlanta. So he highlights Atlanta FX, which of course, whenever production opens up for all TV shows, you know, Zoom rooms about to be crazy, and also physical rooms. But that was an actual event. They used to meet at Herb Arts like every Friday before that Sunday again. And it was really, it was always a great turnout, but it was a intimate discussion. But it was good because, you know, you have a nigga pop in who ain't said shit all day, be like, actually, I think Issa's the whore because, and then it just like turns up everything. And we want that same, you know, vibe, but no, nobody bit anybody. Nah, we're writers. They're just creatives trying to talk about shit, talk about culture shit. We, on the other hand, our actual goal is to talk about it from a writer's perspective, you know, breaking it down and through the story, how it relates to the culture. And then also, like, this is like a soft way to recruit writers. So.
Yeah, I just hadn't seen anything about it before I got in here, and I was like, "Well, dang, that caught on fast." But
Yeah,
that's just okay.
they just started it back up Zoom too. But you know, we've been talking about this for a while. It's just about how do we go about doing it. So we're doing it.
Yay!
The transition back to the world is the fun part that we're working through. But we definitely appreciate y'all for sure.
Yeah, and to be honest, like the Zoom, it was the original idea was for us to do this in person. That was the original idea. It's just when the Rona hit, it just forced us to rethink. So it was just like, how can we still create this without meeting in person? And that's
well, I'm in mobile, so this definitely helps. So, but I still would love to see y'all beautiful faces in person.
Oh, it's gonna be so much better. Liquor gonna be poured. Great arguments over popcorn. Great arguments and unpopular opinions. Absolutely, yes.
Team Molly.
Did you wait a minute? Time out.
Did I speak?
It's time to go. It's time to
Team Molly.
Are we out of time?
Nobody. I've never heard nobody say that like at all.
I've seen people talk.
Somebody put a picture on Instagram and it said my 2020 plans, and then and it was Issa at her black party soft release happy hour, and then like the Rona in 2020 it was Molly. Nobody says Team Molly, Ryan.
That's messed up.
Nobody.
I'll save my thoughts for another episode.
Okay. Say that for the end of the season because I gotta understand why you said that. Like,
yeah, that end of the season episode, that end of the season Zoom is gonna be very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm ready to look back at everybody's predictions and see which ones came true.
Yeah.
Like that. So, yeah, and I want to see if Ryan's still gonna be Team Molly, but.
Ryan is by himself. He on a boat in the middle of the water by himself with it. I ain't never heard nobody say that. I ain't never heard nobody say Team Molly.
My man's cast away with his Wilson. Wilson, son.
Like, Team Molly, what?
Telling y'all, yo. She made out to be the villain. It's terrible.
All right.
It has to be one. Has to be one. Well,
we wish you all a very happy Sunday, a beautiful week, a happy Memorial Day. I know you was about to close out. I'm sorry.
Nah, yeah. Everybody got
I'm
what they said.
my address for anybody who's barbecuing, you know.
I'm about to say happy Memorial Day to everybody. I just bought a grill. I'll bring the food.
I might pull up on and throw some salmon on that thing because
I'm saying
tired of being in this house. For real.
I'm a Uber. Send me your address. I'm a Uber over.
Yeah. Same. Same. Yep. There it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So email coming out for the next movie review, which is All Day and Night. It's on Netflix. Check it out. You got a whole week into next Sunday when we start posting about it. And you all will get a special agenda sent out. Have you all been receiving your emails? Perfect. They're all good. Cool. Ryan, can we have your email address?
He sent it. We got it.
Yeah. Nicole and Stanley, can y'all put y'all email address in the chat?
Yes, hi Nicole, hi Stanley. They've been so quiet.
I know. N and S. One didn't know they face.
Hi.
Hi,
I was listening the whole time, I promise.
oh, cool. Hey,
The
Nicole.
entire time I've been listening.
Hey, Stan.
What up? What up?
Yeah. So
So-
once we get them chats, get those emails, you all are good to go. Okay.
All right, bet.
Taking a picture.
Any other questions before we go? Anything?
Questions,
Rapper
comments?
hands? Rapper hands? No? No? Okay.
Did we go through all the categories? We kind of went a little. It's fine, whatever length we go. But I'm like, did we go through everything? This was a little short.
This one is a little bit shorter because it was a movie. Like when we got to this, we could talk about hella characters, hella, what about predict? Yeah, and usually predictions is what take longer, but we have nothing to predict. So.
Gotcha. It was a TV show. Dave was a TV show, so yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
I can say, like, even though I do appreciate the different aspects the film brought, I didn't like the film. I'm gonna be truthful with you. I think
Yeah, definitely. I definitely would have gave it about 5.
yeah, because I started watching it last night, and literally, like, I think no more than 15 minutes in, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, hold on. I had to come back today to be like, let me catch it up real quick, you know what I'm saying? So I can be part of the conversation and not just be talking on the neck.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just how I felt about it, though.
Cinematography was great, though. Yeah.
I'm curious what
Yeah,
y'all
it was.
I want to know
Very
what y'all didn't
creative,
like about it.
artistic.
It felt so slow, and to be truthful, it was kind of boring. Like, I feel like I had to look into it to draw something out of it instead of it like pulling me in.
Yeah.
You feel me? So it was just more
That's a
so
good
it kind
description.
of, for real. It didn't feel like it had a lot of connecting points, even though like it was a great window to peek into the viewpoint of someone's life like that. It was kind of like,
Yeah.
and this just ain't for me.
And enlighten me on a private school because I've never been to. I take that back. I have been to a private Catholic school, but I ain't fuck with it. Like I was just like, hey, yo, mom, nah, bro. The uniform slaps. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know this red and white and slaps, but these teachers and these girls, like, they say not 100, mom. Like they be like ganging up on you in the bathroom and be like, you a new girl, you came from Hazelwood, why you down here in the city? And I be like, girl, because my little brother go here too, and I'm in 7th grade, and he in kindergarten, and my mom like it based since us both go to the same school. Why you my business? Like, yeah, they mean. I ain't like it.
I kind of feel like that brings it down to the point where I was like the music. Like I feel like the music was just so intense for what the storyline was. Like I feel like if it was
Paloma.
Yeah, if the music was just a little different and that's not so intense throughout the whole movie, I feel like I wouldn't have been expecting so much. You know what I mean? But I'm really like, oh man, this gonna get like for real, for real. Again, a story about high school life. Well, this particular high school life and how they navigating. But I felt like that music belonged in like some, I don't know, some other kind of movie, like a way more intense movie.
Yeah, they had it. I'm not gonna lie. They had like I did Shazam maybe one or two scenes. I was like, I do fuck with this, but also this movie too damn prestigious to be having them bops like that. But that was like Paloma, right? Like, because it all seemed like it came from Paloma. Like that shit was. I agree with my code. That shit was kind of dry. It really was. I couldn't relate.
I thought it kind of targeted a younger audience. Like I feel younger.
Yeah,
I thought I would have liked them more, but I'm 30. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Niggas is in their 30s.
I wasn't doing that in high school. I don't know what y'all was doing.
I was gonna say, what age group you talking about?
But I'm saying, like, I remember like watching Pretty Little Liars. I used to like that show, but I couldn't watch it now. You know what I'm saying? So I just think, when you're younger, the intensity, the drama is more relatable. Like, I don't care about you and your girlfriend. You like them, and it's in tests and stuff. Like, it's just not. I'm more removed from it now, so it's like it's not. I can relate more, like you were saying earlier, to like an Insecure and an Issa than like a Selah. Like even though I wasn't a drug dealer in high school, like I could just relate to her high school.
That's what it was. Thank you, Whit, for putting that in perspective. Niggas too old for this. Niggas too old for it. That's what it was. That's exactly what that was. You right? Too old for it. Cause I was like,
yeah. Was I the only one that thought it was college at first? Cause I'm like,
Yeah, I thought it was at first too, because the whole
Yeah.
boarding school aspect. But then I was like, oh, they young. Hold on.
yeah.
Now, if it was college, that would have been lit. That would have been a little litty.
It would have been a little different.
Yeah.
But
They
I
would
think
pay
that
to do
comes
drugs.
It'd
back.
have been more drugs.
Right.
It'd have been more drugs.
Police would have definitely been involved. Campus security, they would have been in trouble. It would have been fucking too. It would have been a lot of fucking. Like,
I was thinking that too. It'd have been more sex.
it would have been way more sex. College, that's all it was about. Pretending you go into class and have sex and drink vodka. What?
Girl, the
horrible vodka. Horrible
Burnett,
vodka.
Everclear. What are we
Bit
doing?
alcohol.
Bruh, Everclear can like kill a plant. Like, why are you doing your body? Like, what's happening? It's
Crazy.
We used to drink that stuff and go to class too, like it was nothing.
like, haha, yeah. I took 2 shots of Everclear. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, all right. I took some Parrot Bay.
Whoop-de-doo.
I didn't know my drink. Me and my friend was just talking about the other night. Like, damn, like being in your 30s, you know yourself way more than you did when you was in your 20s. Mm-hmm. And it took me fucking probably 7 years to know what my drink was. I used to go to the club like, can I get an amaretto sour? The bartender used to be like, sure. Like, fucking child, get out of here. Amaretto sour, $8 for juice. It's crazy. Crazy.
You know what is crazy? Like I don't like everyone's mentioned music, and I was like, I really don't remember paying attention to the music.
Really?
Like that.
It was very orchestral. Like it was very like. But again, only one rap song, and that's when Paloma came in. Like everything else was just very like intense and suspenseful, you know. Yeah. But I always.
But then
and the shit came in very loud too. I don't know how you missed the music.
Yeah, I like the thing was I wasn't paying attention. Like I was paying attention, but I wasn't paying attention because, like you said, it was kind of very slow and dry. Yeah. So my mind was just like, all right, what else? Yeah, okay. And but the thing is, like now, it's like part of me wants to go back and watch it again just for the music to see how she did it, because that might have been intentional. You know, if with the music, with you saying it only popped in with Paloma, that's a director's technique. You know, to specifically put certain music in on a certain character to invoke a certain emotion, is, you know, like lighting and things like that.
That's probably why I couldn't feel her out, because the music was throwing me off every time she came on. I'm like, I don't know if she's a good character or a bad character.
I think that's what, and I think the music helped Paloma be the music helped Paloma express like her energy that was given to Selah. And again, I said Selah wanted that cat, especially when.
Wait a minute. Do you think Selah wanted her or Paloma wanted her? Because you remember she was like looking at the picture with old boy and she was putting a thumb up.
Yeah, it was going both ways. Yeah,
I thought something was
mutual.
Yeah, and that one scene when she was. I left out the room and I came back and Selah was on the phone with her mama and Paloma was laying in the bed. I'm like, what did I miss? Get in the bed. I was like, wait. And I'm like, I mean, that's a thing. Like, of course, I used to be in my homegirl's dorm. I'm like, I'm in your head. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yeah, y'all like each other. Yeah, but also
in college they would have hooked up. If it was a college show, they would have
they would have been carpet bumping. They would have been doing it.
I was waiting for it because Paloma threw it out there. She's like, "What's up?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, basically
they would have. And I think Paloma prediction. Paloma would have made the first move.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe that too.
That was a little bit too proud. Like, I'm gonna need it to come to me.
Yeah. But
speaking to that, then
Selah would have been thirsty though. I'm sorry, but yeah.
I could see that, but speaking to that, why do y'all think that Selah didn't do anything and said she wasn't interested? Because she was like, I don't kiss and I don't do all that type of stuff.
Guarding herself.
Yeah, that was a guard. Protection.
Yeah,
she didn't like.
Yeah, that was deflection all day. Like
I think that was the reason why they had Maxie mess with somebody to show why she didn't want to allow anybody in, because when she did, those emotions will make you mess up. Those emotions will make you slip up. In the position that we are in, you have to be strong and firm and guarded to not let slip ups happen. You know, you can't have another rat like sophomore year. You kept throwing
He called her out too.
Yeah.
He was like, everything was fine until I mentioned about your teammate. I think she realized she did have a little more feeling for him, maybe not romantically, but even just as a brother, as a friend, that she didn't want to let that relationship go. And she kind of saw him like pulling away.
So she wanted Maxie too? Yeah, I think she wanted Maxie.
I think she might have
I
had
think as a friend.
Yeah, I don't think it was romantic.
Yeah, but like as a brother.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
I
Yeah.
remember when Paloma threw it out there, and she was like, "No, that's like my brother and whatever." But I feel like at one point in time, she probably looked at him and was
I
like,
feel like everybody get that one crush, right? That like you used to having, and you don't really like them, but you like that they like you. And then when they like start liking somebody else, it's like, bruh, you mine. You supposed to be like me.
Is that a woman thing? Like, you know, because I don't know. I haven't had that before.
Oh, it's happened to me. Any other women?
I've been on the receiving end. That's
See? No.
I mean,
No. Okay.
I feel like
Maybe
selfish.
Okay, wait. Say it again. Let me think real quick. Let me go.
So, have you ever had a crush and you didn't like them, but then they started liking somebody else and you was bothered by it?
Because I was crushing on them.
No, you didn't crush on them.
They like
crushing on me.
But you ain't feeling them, and so you playing them off or whatever, but you still kind of keep them around. So like, you know, you keep that, you know, connection, but you don't like them. But when they start liking somebody else, it's just like, well, why you not liking me no more? It's because like, bitch, you ain't giving me no play. So why am I still?
So basically, like Molly, like Molly and Insecure.
And Asian Bay.
Right? Like Molly, right?
I definitely have had that before. Yeah. Like, but there's some heavy karma attached with it. Like, boy, when you start liking somebody and they like, I mean, I want to keep you around, but I'm never really gonna like be with you. So just chill out.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, it really is. I know. As now you got me. No, well, see, I'm different now. I wouldn't be like that now, but I know someone who's been trying to like get with me since we were like kids, and I'm just like, we're friends, like we're cool, and he'd be like, nah, like you're mine, and I'd be like, but I'm not. I'm not, and I'm also in a relationship. I'm really not, but I just had to say it just so you can like feel like there's a boundary, because I keep saying, because if I tell you I'm single, you like, oh, you're mine. I have an opportunity, and so I like sometimes it get weird. So I just try not to fuck with it like that. I feel like it scares me. Yeah.
For me in those situations, it's like, I ain't even mad that you booed up. It's just like, now our relationship is going to change. Like, now we not able to, you know, talk shit together like we used to, or go out to eat. Like, now you can only do that with your fucking girlfriend. You know what I mean? And now I lost my, like,
but not necessarily though. Some relationships should be able to still like, you should
do.
your outside your friends.
But most guys are like, nah, she gonna get mad and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. So,
Yeah, because you miss your friend that was in the friend zone. When your friend zone friend leaves, it's like, you don't got your friend no more. We like, bro, we was friends. He like, but I was trying to get out the friend zone. I was trying to keep you in. You was trying to get out the whole time.
So what's the differentiation line? You said what?
Woody, that sounds like some savage shit. It's like I wanted you to stay in the friend zone, but now that you're going to be friends with somebody else, be in their friend zone, it's like.
I mean, it might be, but it's honest. Okay, it's some honest shit.
So what's the differentiation line? Like, what makes a dude to the women in the chat? What makes a dude a friend versus, you know what I'm saying, potential to be something more? Because it's a thin line. I see that all y'all speaking to.
Shit. I mean, honestly, at this age, at this time, social media, like mental health, let's just go ahead and put that in the beginning. Like, this is what my intentions are with us, and this is what it's not. And boundaries should always be a thing. And also, when attraction starts to shift, whether someone has sex or someone gets more connected through intimacy in another type of way, or you just really enjoy this person. Those conversations, you have to keep having those conversations. So like it's like an update, like let's just do a check-in. What is happening? Because like them blurred line, that thin line is so thin it can get blurred to the point you can't even see it, and because we're not acknowledging that it's actually there. And that thin line is a boundary. And if it's that thin, it ain't one. And that's how shit goes haywire, So I think I think both parties should always know where they stand from the beginning. But that's just me, because I just don't have the emotional space to be yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know, like differentiation. I feel like kind of girls can kind of lead this. Like if I want you as a friend, but I know you feeling me, like I probably wouldn't maybe like let you pay for like dinner if we went out to eat, together or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'd like to keep that very clear. Like, look, we just like, this is friends, you know what I mean? Because in my opinion, no matter what a dude says, like if he's paying for dinner, and even though it's maybe this unspoken understanding, like, nah, I ain't trying, we won't have sex or whatever, but like they're expecting you to kind of let your guard down, you know what I mean? Like they are expecting it, even though old boy not asking. I feel like they're expecting because they're giving, you know what I mean? Like you said, T, if it's not clearly defined, like, look, we homies and I got you on this meal, like you good, you know what I'm saying? We good. But
why y'all laughing?
I feel like
because Whitney, what she said in the chat, she said, I'm feeling sad.
Like free food every day.
But no, okay, pause. let me give context.
Boy, these Howard women.
Man, shut up. Okay, first of all, I feel like I do have male friends, and they best stuff for me all the time, and we've been friends for years, and it's really platonic. Like, we've got drunk as fuck together, and nothing's ever happened type platonic. Like, so it's that true. But I also had a friend, and we was friends since we were kids. And he had a crush on me since we were kids. And I was very clear about very clear, like to the point, it was kind of mean, like no, these are all the reasons why not type thing. And about a couple years ago, he came down here. I ain't even this is a hell of a story, y'all. I ain't even go into details of this story, but he came down here and really was trying to like make a point. And I was just tired. I was like, fuck it, do what you want, bro. Like buy what you want, pay for what you want. I'm still not interested, because I feel like at the point in which I've explained myself 1,000 times and you just don't hear me no more, you doing what you want to do anyway. So, and I didn't invite you, so do what you want. And that's how I feel. So like, yeah, with my homeboys, yeah, it's definitely a clear. They know like we're just friends. Like their girlfriends know their wives. Is no question. There's no gray area. But like if it's a guy who like crushing on me and I've been clear about it, regardless, if you want to pay for it, go ahead. Because I mean, it's your card.
I just think you shouldn't. I think you shouldn't, because in they head, like I said, oh, she let me do this, something's gonna happen. And then like when y'all fall out, it's just like this, oh bitch, you did this, bitch, you did that, whatever. Like it always,
yeah.
Somebody's feelings is gonna get hurt. You know what I'm saying?
I was very clear. And I say clear, I mean clear. Multiple times. When I tell you we have multiple friends and they told him before he even came out here, don't do that because she's not gonna go for it. That's how clear I've been in the past. So at that point in which I'm that clear, you can buy what the hell you want to buy, baby. Do what you need to do to make yourself feel better. Because this is about you. It's not about me. I'm just benefiting from whatever emotional roller coaster you on by yourself. Like, maybe that's savage, but shit, I mean.
Savage.
Savage. I like that. Savage.
It's fancier.
It's fancy.
Yeah, it's a fancier way of saying yes, that was savage as hell. It's to lighten it. It's not to give it to you all the way and say yes, you were savage for doing that. But I understand.
If you're gonna buy me a new purse and some Mediterranean food, then fine. Like
savage.
That's what it sounds like.
So y'all see,
like it, right? Cool, bet.
So y'all see a young man or male buying or treating you out to an outing and paying for it as he wants something in return.
Not all the time.
Most of the time.
See, that's probably why I can accept a gift, because I don't always see it like that. Like, because I mean, I buy stuff for my friends. It's not a big deal. We're friends. Like, It's the point when you want something else back from me. That's the problem. Because I do, just because somebody does something from you doesn't mean you're supposed to get something back. That's not what you do stuff.
It really depends on the relationship because I'm telling you right now, if I ain't got $5 for a meal and I'm with Kevin E,
Yeah, help me out. And
what do y'all got me? And I hope you're not looking for. I hope you're not looking for me to pay you back. This is the same.
On the person, like, yeah, she's right. If it's in that situation, I ain't looking for nothing from T. It's just let me just help her out. But like, it depends on the president and whatever y'all like relationship is.
Yeah.
And this is a thin line too. Like, it's really safe to go with what T said. Just put it out there. Like,
yeah.
I like you. I want you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I care for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then even being real with yourself. Like, yeah, I know last time I was kind of being a sim. You probably thought I was a friend, but really, I'm really trying to get on. And and that gives people the option of like, all right, I can tell this nigga no. Okay, I like this, but at least it's there, and that goes both ways. Because until then, they just gonna look at you like, I mean,
it's a mal sauvage. It's a little
sauvage. Is that a mal?
Sauvage.
And one day we're gonna have y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all this story. Y'all can write it out. This would be a great addition.
Fuck yes.
That way y'all can understand that I really was just a victim in that situation. He just wanted to spend money, okay? And I just had to be there, okay? Because bruh, when I tell y'all he was going hard, I said, well, fuck it then. Well, shit. What am I supposed to do?
What am I supposed to? I mean, that's a little.
Yeah, faith. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, y'all are too
Man,
funny.
I don't know that because that right there, that I've seen what that can do. I've seen what buying a woman's affection will do to a woman and what it'll do to that relationship when that man finally wakes up and realizes, like, wait a minute, I'm spending too much money. And then she's just like, so you ain't buying me nothing no more? I'm out. And it's just like, oh.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying. Like,
That's not what I was. We were actually, I mean, the guys I'm thinking about, like, it's two situations. We were actual friends for years, and they decided they wanted to switch it up on me. And I was like, no, let's not do that.
No.
But he's still trying to buy your affection, though.
Yeah, of course. I realized that. And that's why I said no. But after the third no, I mean, shoot. Do you, boo. Do you.
Savage.
Man, look, y'all don't understand, okay? I was in a tight situation.
That's okay.
Hey,
that's
interesting.
You gotta do.
It is.
Did you keep what he bought afterwards is the question.
So, two-part, kind of yes and no. So one thing he did was he popped up at my doorstep with this big-ass life-size drawing of me that was not good. So after girl. So I kept the frame and took the picture out, threw that shit away. And then we went out to the club and I invited him. Mind you, we had a long conversation the day before where I literally heart to heart, and I'm just like pouring out to him all the reasons why he should be chasing somebody who really wants him, and just because we were friends, right? So I'm really trying to get him to understand. So I thought he got it. So he came out to the club the next day with his homeboy. So I'm thinking it's gonna be cool, but then he's still trying to push up on me. And in Atlanta, y'all, they do the whole like bottle thing. Like if you sit there for a minute, they're like, okay, $200 for a bottle if y'all want to sit here still. So they came over there to do that, and I was like, well, we can move. And he like, well, I'll pay for it. And I'm like, no, I'm good. That's too much money, man. He like, no, you want to sit here, don't you? I'm like, no, let's just get up. He like, no. So he was like, well, fuck it. Go ahead. Do what you need to do, man. Like, go ahead, spend the $500 on these bottles. So he like tricks out like on the section or whatever, and like, and he had a dispensary, so he like giving all these edibles and things away to my friends, trying to buy them.
Oh, he ain't losing nothing.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a little different. But if you know that nigga work at Family Dollar as a manager, then you breaking my boy, you breaking his pocket just to sit and have a conversation where you getting broken up. That's a lot to take in.
Girl.
But it's like
that's the only tip of the iceberg, though.
Me and Trick though. We didn't did it. It may not be as consistent as some.
We've been tricked too. I've definitely tricked off before, and I'm like, wow, I've done this way too many times.
I ain't paying for nothing tonight.
Nah, I don't trick.
And it happened all the time. That was just his tricking period. And has he hit you up since?
Nah, they ain't just tricking.
No, I'm about to say,
he do that a lot, bro. I'm sorry.
I had blocked him because they just got creepy.
He got wild.
No, okay. Right. So he do it all the time. So she had to block him.
Yeah. that ain't just one. No, especially when if you tricking off, you showing out for the friends too, and you've done this before. This is not your first
like
rodeo.
It just came down to me having to block them because it's like, okay, you're not getting it, and you're gonna keep buying shit, and I'm gonna keep taking this. Let me just cut the strings right here. And so like that eventually ends up happening because I really do be trying to be their friend. I be like, bro, like we cool, we've been friends for years, but it don't be.
Can women and men really be friends? I feel like that's a whole discussion for a whole nother day. But like I've been asking myself that, like, can we really, truly be friends? Like,
I feel like we can. I feel like a true man and a true woman can, but when it comes to males and females, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I think there's a difference between the two because of them intentions is like really what sets that boundary, like you said, T. So that's my opinion, though.
That's something we definitely have to talk about. But shit, we gotta have our post-op meeting. So definitely, we want to say yes, a beautiful, beautiful Sunday. We appreciate this dialogue because this gives us more ideas and opportunities to bring this space to writers not biters, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person. Like these things these conversations are needed. Period. Now, when it's over weed and liquor, that's when it really get lit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm definitely going to come to St. Louis when y'all do the in-person thing.
Yes, like for real. Let me know when you coming home. I'll make sure it'll all match your schedule. That's going to be lit.
I'm down.
Hey.
All right. Well, it was great speaking to y'all as usual. Y'all have a great Sunday.
Yeah, hope you see next Sunday, y'all, for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to make it. You know, I'll be doing my project. I got caught up last week. I didn't watch whatever was Dave. Yeah, I missed it. So I ain't do my homework.
All right, y'all. Happy Sunday.
All right, bye, babe.
All right, bye, y'all.
Peace.